conclude our first show of the year with Nunnovation. Nunnovation is a digital platform that focuses on amplifying innovation and good news from across the African continent. Along with the new innovations, the platform highlights selfless actions by individuals like yourselves, companies and governments on the African continent. Tomorrow, Nunnovation will be celebrating its one-year anniversary termed #OneNunnoversary. Now, Katu Machal, one of the founders of Nunnovation, joins us today in studio to discuss the innovation outlook for 2015. Good morning, Katu. Happy New Year, I suppose, or compliments of the seasons in order.
Thank you very much. You're looking good.
I'm feeling a little bit tired, and I must say it's a little bit more difficult. Typical today, he's even brought his wife with. She's sitting here behind the scenes.
Yes.
So I must have brought you in away from your holiday. That's an extended holiday. I thought you were always on holiday. You're traveling around the world all the time.
Well, it's all necessary for that credit card to be refilled. So I needed to be here today. Like yours, I hope yours is not that exhausting.
Oh, you know, my wife is still on holiday, so I'll take a beating for at least another week, I suppose. But let's focus on what's important.
Yes.
Innovation Africa 2015. What is driving innovation in Africa, and how do you see that play out in 2015?
Africa, it's a huge playground. It's a huge bowl of opportunities, boundless opportunities. The need to survive, the need to grow, the need for change, and the need for things to be easier in Africa. Somebody was telling me recently that in Africa, when we innovate, we are innovating for solutions that are going to change people's lives almost immediately. We're not talking about drones and the stuff, or digital gaming, or what is going on where people, it's more of entertainment. But with Africa, the innovation is driven by the need to survive.
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter issues. If you look at what has dominated 2014, it was issues of education. We've seen a lot of new technology that came about education. We've seen a lot of alternatives for transport that was happening in Cape Town, as opposed to your Uber. We've seen it grow. It's one of the biggest companies currently.
I used Uber because, you know, in Cape Town they do drink a lot, and you can't drive over the festive season.
That's true.
So that was very. But talk to us about some of these innovations that's come out in 20, and this is by Africans for Africans.
By Africans for Africans. That is the toilet innovation that came out last year. It's been piloted. Bill Gates is also involved in that particular toilet. He said we called it the toilet challenge. We had the bucket challenge last year, and the other bucket challenge was the Ebola bucket challenge. But that is another good thing that came out of Africa, which is a toilet that you can just use, and the flushing mechanism is different. Then we've got the jelly ride that is up there, which is currently being piloted in Cape Town. Not only piloted, but it is already up and running. So we've seen this kind of innovations.
Is that a public transport system? Is it like a rickshaw, a modern day rickshaw?
It's a modern day rickshaw, definitely. I mean, from those in Devon in the olden days to that now, which is solar powered, it's battery powered, and it's also your advertisement type of an innovation. So those are the type of innovations.
This is happening in Cape Town, and if it's successful, it will be sort of moved throughout the rest of the continent, one would think.
Yes, definitely. That is the bus that we saw coming out in South Africa, which is sort of a one-stop shop where you've got your laboratories, you've got your movie theaters, but it's basically for your educational purposes, which has been modified in South Africa.
In layman's terms, this is a mobile school that was developed here in South Africa, and this is going to make its way around the continent to help with education, the basic needs, technology, introduction to technology, and so forth.
Yes, the company that is doing that is South African. They've got a couple of buses that are already doing the rounds across Africa, and they're growing bigger. So this is what I was saying, that we've seen a lot of innovations that are more educational based that are coming in, and we've seen also the private sector embracing technology and saying how best can we be able to develop to meet the basic needs of a normal man on the street in such a way that we can be able to move. I mean, this young man, the stuff that is done, it's unbelievable. It's quicker, it's easier, it's cheaper. you know. And I mean, innovation, a lot of it is based on the fact that people do not want to take the longer route.
Yeah.
If we spoke about the dry bath that came out last year. This young man from Limpopo, he created the dry bath purely because he didn't want to bath. You know, so you can imagine that.
Well, you should say no, he didn't want to waste water. Well, that would be more politically correct.
But in the light of Ebola, then we've seen a lot of those coming out. But looking into the new year, 2015, we're going to see a lot of more governments, both mainly from your local governments that are embracing technology. In the advent of fiber. That came through. We've seen it being rolled out in Kenya with the 7 Cs. Locally, we've seen the likes of Fiberco rolling it out. The city of Joburg, they are rolling it out across the Ria Vaya bus stations, where they will be having free Wi-Fi across the different stations. So you can see that local governments are beginning to embrace technology.
What are the things that are holding us back on the continent? Is there a resistance to change? Because innovation and change kind of go hand in hand. Are we conservative, or are we opening our minds a little bit more now?
We are, however, we need a private sector-led innovation approach, but a government supported. Now, that is where we're lacking. We do not have government governments across Africa that are really coming out strongly and saying, this is what we're going to do. If you see, so we saw last year, Tony Elumelu Foundation in Nigeria, they've put up $100 million to support innovation. And now we're looking for more and more governments like your Rwanda government, your Kenya government, where presidents are embracing innovation from the top. I mean, we can give it fair enough to South Africa with the recent board that has been elected of the National Innovation Chamber. They've got great people that are sitting there, which we're hoping that they will drive it. However, to answer your question fully and directly, it is that we need governments to be able to really come out and support innovation, not only through mouth, but through the funding and through the policies that will support innovation.
Through deeds, and deeds normally go in with millions and millions of US dollars on the continent.
I mean, let's talk about alternative energy a bit. Everybody's talking about HCOM and all that and more. So there's a lot of alternative energy that needs to come out of that. So that's where we're looking at. But then again, 1 year anniversary for Nunnovation. We've got great things. We look out for a lot of exciting stuff that will be going through schools and encouraging young people to think critically and to be more innovative in their thinking. You need to get them to start thinking, how am I going to be a better person tomorrow, as opposed to how big and better am I at a Tetris game or something along those lines.
How am I going to make a contribution to the world that I live in? Thank you very much, Katu Mashar, one of the founders of Nunnovation. Of course, Nunnovation is a digital platform that looks at how Africa is changing the game for itself. Yes, we should all take charge on this continent if we want to make it the African century. Thanks, Katu, for joining us today. Let's have a